Hey guys, my name is Jonathan, and we are in our first ever weekly trade recap. And for this first ever weekly trade recap, I will be recapping from the 3rd of February until the 7th of February, which was last week. So for the first trade, it was a big loss, right? So that day I was only trading for 2 times, and that was in the same exact positions. It's just so the next trade was an add up from this trade. It's like I was sizing up. So for the first trade, that was the initial trade. So my pre-market game plan for that day was that because during pre-market there was I see the price was moving down about 3% because of the tariffs, and that day I didn't come to think that because during pre-market there's a possibility that those swing positions could be closed, and that could add buying pressure during market open. So I didn't consider that as an option. So I just to put it out there, and then it was a big loss. So but it was a pretty good entry. It was just unforeseen circumstances happened. So what happened was I came in at 10:11 because I saw that sellers was dropping the price around 10:10. I should have just waited until 10:13, which was the the retracement, but I didn't wait. I don't know why, but I didn't wait. But I should have waited because that should be an extra confirmation for me that sellers would continue supporting its position, which what happened around 10:13. Passive sellers came in at the highs, and then price drops. After that, I saw another potential of entry at 10:15. 10:15 price came up, and I saw buyers were getting absorbed, so that's why I entered. And then at 10:16 price came up a little bit but got retracted again. More sellers came in, and then at 10:17 sellers created a continuation, which drags the price lower, and I was making about $300 or $400 in these two trades. But then something happened around 10:21, right? So what happened was, I think Trump's tariff policy to Mexico got delayed 1 or 2 months late for 1 or 2 months, and then the market reacted positively, so the price jumped up about 70 points, and for each position I lost about 600 to 700, so I was losing about 1,500 under a minute. So I was really stressed out, and that took me by storm. So I just decided not to take a trade again that day. So as you can see, this was the add-in position from that, and like I was losing a lot because of that unforeseen circumstances. From that day I learned that I should have placed a stop loss just in case something like this happened again. And yeah, moving on. So I didn't trade the next day because I still got some emotional damage from that one. So for Wednesday, I believe there's not of a big much happening that day. And but there will be jobless claims on Thursday, so I was just monitoring the market before it opens, and then during 9 to 10 a.m. I see a support level over there. And for indicators, I was looking at my cumulative delta indicator, and I saw an absorption. So what happened was, on this trade, I analyzed it wrong. So I thought sellers were absorbed, so that's why I took this position. But this was a very bullish signal. So the first signal was that buyers were absorbed over here. So sellers were absorbed, sellers were absorbed. As you can see, the difference between the price movement. So the price goes up, but then the delta is like steady. So as you can see here, this was a very bullish signal. I didn't know why I took a short, but it was a really stupid loss. Maybe I was analyzing wrong. But yeah, moving on to the next one. So the next trade, because of that loss, now I learned that price wants to go up. And then obviously I took a buy position, and from that I just I saw buyers were struggling at 1026 and 1027, so that's why I closed the trade. And because of buyers were struggling, this one I took a profit. But then the next trade, I wasn't waiting for confirmation. That's why I just played the guessing game, I believe. And because of that, I lost money. And from this, I learned that I should never ever play like an assumption based on buyers struggling, because like it, of course it shows a possibility that price would go lower, but that signal is not strong enough for me to actually close the trade and switch sides. So that's why I lost money. Didn't have enough confidence, and I was just messing around. And for the fourth trade, because of that, I know now that the price really wants to go up. So after seeing that price movement, price goes down, took a dip, and it goes up. And I should have waited for a retracement, but I didn't, because I was scared of missing out the gains, obviously. And I took a buy position, and luckily that retracement wasn't that deep, so buyers stepped in again at 1035, supported the price, and then buyers created continuation. And then as you can see here, buyers created a continuation after that 1035 support, although it got rejected at 1036. But then I learned my lesson not to play the guessing game again. I just needed to wait for more confirmation if the price really wants to reverse back. So I just kept the trade going, and then 1039 I got scared, but then thank God at 1040 buyers came in again and supported the price. So from that I took another trade to sized up at 1041. So from that, each position got me, so the first position got me about $147, and for the second position got me around $114. So that was about $200 to $300 in profit from that trade. And then I should have stopped then, but I kept going because I wanted to make more money, because I lost a lot from Monday's trade, and that was a big mistake. I should have stopped. I knew I should have stopped, but I just didn't stop. And from that, because in my mind I just wanted to make more money, and I didn't care what the price was doing, and I took a loss. And from that loss, I was scared, anxious, but then of course I continued again. This was the same, it's different. So because I took a loss from buying the stock, and then I took a sell and I took a loss again, which was ridiculous. I was just playing the same exact, I was just doing the same exact mistake as I did from the third trade, I believe, yeah. And then finally, I took my time to read the price action, and then what I'm seeing here, sorry if the picture's a bit blurry, what I'm seeing here is that at 10:55 is where I got stopped out. 10:56 price dropped, but then there was no imbalance, no buying imbalance at the lows here. As you can see, there was no imbalance. And then 10:57 there is one imbalance there, but then price quickly overcame sellers quickly closed it, which was invalidating the imbalance. And then 10:59 there was a strong buying pressure again came in, and then price went up again about $21,508, and I didn't really see much setup going on here, so I just kept on waiting and waiting until so the price kept on going up and going up until it was on premium level. So I took out my Fibonacci retracement tool, and then I saw at 11:10 there was a bit of a support and a bit of resistance here, and there were more sellers at the top, and price got rejected. And then at the next minute, which was at 11:11, price dropped drastically, and then at 11:12 price dropped again because of the rejection. And then I took a short because of that, and I kept the trade going. So from that, here, let's take a look at this again. And then I saw another opportunity because buyers was struggling here at 11:14. Yeah, 11:14. Sorry, the picture's a bit blurry. At 11:14, buyers were struggling. There was about 43 buyers at the top and about 105 sellers, I think. Yeah, and then at the highest price, there was about 29 buyers and there was about 81 sellers. So there was more sellers because the price was going up and people kept on taking profits, and I believe that was the fuel for this price action. And then at 11:15, more buyers were getting absorbed. As you can see, there was about 100 buyers and there was only about 27 sellers, but then it closes under the buying imbalance, so that added more confirmation for me to take a short. And then price dropped, and then there was, because of that, I know now that sellers wants to continue selling and that they have control in that price area. So once the price drops, and then at 11:18 price retraced to retest the resistance, the support, or whatever you may call. But at this side I'm looking at the support because I'm looking at selling. So the price retraced back to test the support, and then sellers came back in again at the highs. And as you can see here, there's about 12 buyers here and about 49 sellers, I believe. And then at 11:19 there was a bit of a buying pressure over there, but then I learned from my lesson that I need to just keep the trade going on and just be ready with my stop loss. So I just played around with it, and then until then, because I've kept on seeing sellers getting absorbed, and I just closed it, and then I was right. As you can see here, there's about 20 buyers and then about 75 sellers getting absorbed here. So it's just a ridiculous amount of sellers getting absorbed. So I took my I went cash, took my profits, and just for this one I made about $244, and for the next trade, which was the size up, I made about $93. So I think, so yeah, that was for the 5th of February. And then for the 6th, let's see if I did take some trades over here. And so for the 6th of February trading session, I took a loss for the first session. So let's take a look at the pre-market game plan. So the news was due to the initial jobless claims coming up, Amazon earnings, and UK rate decision as well. So I was just monitoring like how the price would react to it. And then as you can see here, price found pretty strong resistance at this level, which was 21,740, between that and then the lower price as well. So I was just wondering if price will go there, and I was just monitoring and kept on looking there. And market opens at 9 to 10 a.m. and price goes there. It invalidated the level, and then but then it went down again. So I didn't really know what to do. So I just waited, and then I was just expecting for price to go up and try to catch the bottom, but it was a really bad practice. So there was a sell-off at 10.24 over there, like a big red candle, but then at 10.25 I saw a pretty strong buying pressure, as you can see here. But then at 10.28 price got rejected and it went lower. So I thought to myself, oh, maybe I should just give it more time, and maybe the price still wants to go lower. So I just went cash and just take it as break even. But then let's see, for the next trade, because I wanted to catch the bottom, I didn't really have the edge, so I got scared out. I took another cash. This time I took a loss, about $100, and then after I closed the trade, I see the price kept on going up. So, but then at 10:32, I was planning to sell because I saw a rejection over there, and I thought the buying pressure will go away soon because the price will go lower. But then at 10:33, price went higher, and so for that I should just go to the next one. So that would be the third trade for the day, and price went higher. Price did went higher, but sorry if it's a bit blurry, but I'll just describe it for you. So as you can see, price went higher, so I was confident in that, and I took another trade. So I had about 10 lots opened, so it's 5 each. I had about 10 opened, and then I was going to take my profit, but I was just like, I'll just keep this going and see where it goes. I didn't put my stop loss. So I don't know what happened, just price just goes down by like 70 points, and turns out it was just a retracement to the lower side. So the trend was actually bearish. So because I wasn't sure about my game plan, I just followed the price action, and by following that I wasn't looking at the levels, and then turns out it was just a test of support, and sellers actually continued selling, and it just made me lost a few $100, about $200 to $300, and yeah, I think that was a pretty big loss. And after seeing that, I learned that price really wants to go lower. So from that loss, sorry if it's a bit blurry, I'll there you go. So from that loss over there, I just waited. So I tried not to be emotional this time, and then I saw an opportunity. So the opportunity was about 1042, and I see a really strong rejection at this key level over here, and I entered just quite late, but it was a pretty good entry, and then price just went down smoothly. There was there was some rejections here at 1044 and 1045, but then price continued going downwards at 1046, and then went up again to test the support at 1052. 1052 sellers came in again. There was about 13 buyers over here, and then 72 sellers over there, and then I took my chances and I entered my trade again. But then as I waited and waited, I kept on seeing buyers kept on coming in, and sellers won't even continue dragging the price lower. So here at 1055, there was about 200 sellers as the delta, and 1056. Let me just go to the next image and see if I grabbed the delta over there. And yeah, I did. Sorry if it's a bit blurry. God. But what I'm trying to say is that at 1056 there was 200 sellers, and then the next minute the delta turned green, so there was more buyers coming in the next minute. So I was like, is this a good time? Is this a signal for me to just close the trade? And I took that signal and took that signal and then what's going on? Yeah, it's this one. Yeah, so there you go. So at 10:55 there was about 230 sellers more, at 203 sellers, and the next minute the delta was up for like 54. So I was like, there was more buyers coming in, and I was like, I think the price was oversold at this time. And as you can see at the lower levels here, sellers were absorbed. So there was about 47 buyers and 87 sellers getting absorbed, and then 14 buyers at the higher levels. So it was about 14 buyers, and there was about 56 sellers getting absorbed. So it was quite a ridiculous amount of them getting absorbed. So I just took what I made and just exited, went cash, and that was a pretty good decision. Then and because I scaled up, I took a loss from the second position, but then from the first position I made some money, but it was not that much. And then the next one, I think I bought because I thought the price will continue higher. Turns out it was just another retested the support. So I think I didn't learn my lesson that day, and I should have kept my take profit a bit tighter that day. Turns out price was really choppy, so I was expecting for continuation, but turns out that day price just didn't have any continuation. So because I got emotional and I scaled up too fast, and I just exposed myself to double the risk, and then I was like, nah, I can't do this. So I just stopped trading for the day. So that was a really bad loss, and it took a really big toll on me. So, and then the next day, it was on Friday, so the last day of the week, right? So the pre-market game plan was that there were news about the non-farm payrolls and the consumer sentiments that is going to come up today, and I think I haven't changed the image, but let's just move on to the market open. So let's just read this. So I wrote this journal after my trading session. So as you can see here, I read the news on CNBC. I read the article on CNBC saying that based on JP Morgan traders, that weak payrolls would be the worst case for US stocks. So I should have done this research, like these deep research pre-market or pre-trading session, but I did it after, so it was like, but now I learned that I need to do this kind of research so I know the market context and I know what at least will know what to expect, you know what I mean? And then let's move on. And turns out the unemployment rate falls to 4%, and then wage rise more than the forecast, and then the US labor market remains resilient. So this was from the article that I wrote, that I read. But then there was another factor that needs to be considered. So the inflation fears rise up to the highest since November 2023 as the consumer sentiments hit 7 months low. So that was another factor to consider. And as you can see here, this was the chart. And this was the chart for the non-farm payrolls. It was a bit low compared to last year's December 2024. As you can see, it's a bit less than half on what they have on last December. And then I looked at the 30 minutes time frame as to monitor the value areas. So as you can see here, around 10 a.m., which was during market open, and a bit on 9:30, there was a big rejection at the top over there, and price just goes deep down into yesterday's session value area. And then I got into the smaller time frame, and I saw there was a rejection on yesterday's point of control, which, as you can see here, there was this session's point of control, and market got rejected in the smaller time frame once it retraced its support. And then sorry if it's a bit blurry, it should be loading anytime soon, just give me a second. But yeah, I'll just read it for you. The price went up to test the support, and then the support, which was the sellers, continued supporting their positions, and then price went down lower again. But then here about 10:30, I believe, price found some supports of buyers over here. Price found some resistance because we're talking on the seller side. So there was some buying pressure over here at 10:30, but then it's really slow, sorry. And then I took my chances. So this was just just to test if the sellers still want to support the price or not. So at 10:35, 10:36, I believe, this was actually a really strong buying signal, because there's really strong buying pressure over here. But then I just wanted to test if the sellers still want to support the price or not. Turns out they were exhausted, and buyers took control already. So I took a loss, which was not a big loss this time. I lost about 110, which was not a big deal because I initially raised about $100, so it's not a big deal. And then for the next trade, because of that, I know now that price wants to go higher. So from that, at 10.35, there you go, at 10.35, there's a big delta over there, about 263 buyers. And from that loss, I took the opposite direction. So I took a buy, and price went higher because of that strong buying pressure, and it just went higher and went higher. And then I closed it because I kept on seeing buyers getting absorbed at in the highs over here, and there's a really strong imbalance over here of passive sellers. So I just went cash, took my profits, and sorry, I forgot to mention, I also scaled up. So I opened about 10 lots over here. So yeah, there you go. So I closed it because there were sellers coming in, and there was not much of a buyer at the higher price level. So I should have just let my runners open, but then I was just scared of price slippage and uncertainty, so I just closed it. And as you can see here, there was only 26 buyers and there was about 83 sellers at the highs. And yeah, that was the major red flag for me, so I just closed it because I kept on seeing buyers getting absorbed. And then the next trade, yeah, there you go. The next trade at 10:39. Let's just talk about 10:39 first. 10:39, price went down, but then it found a pretty strong support for the buyers. And 10:40, there was some rejection at the top. 10:41, more sellers came in. So about 900 transactions over there, 30 more sellers. And then 10:42, price kind of closed up after buying imbalance from 10:40 and 10:39. So I thought maybe because of that, buyer still wants to support the price. But then at 10:43, I see pretty strong rejection at the top. So I sticked around to my game plan, which was putting my stop loss over there. So I risked about $100, and then price went down quite deep. I was losing $100 in a few seconds. I was a bit scared, so my mistake was I scaled in too fast, right? Scaled in too fast over here. I opened another position over here already, so that was about 10 lots, and I increased my risk exposure to my risk, exposure to losing more. So yes, because I didn't want to lose money, and my initial stop loss should have just been here, as you can see here. But then I didn't stick to my game plan. I kind of waited until the price wants to go higher or not. But then I saw rejection at 10:45, so I was that's it, I need to get out. And I got out with a loss of 100 each, so that's 150 each. That's about $300 in loss. And from that, I learned my lesson again, which I should have just learned to be patient. And after that, I saw a really strong buying pressure at 10:46. Sorry if the midship is a bit blurry. I'll see if this one loads pretty well. Yes, it doesn't load. Sorry. So at 10:46, there's a pretty strong buying pressure. And then 10:47, buyers created continuation and retraced back at 10:48, and shown a pretty strong support and shown me that sellers were getting absorbed at the lower levels. Because of that, I know that the aggressive sellers were getting absorbed, so that's why it's a pretty strong confluence. And at 10:49, there's a bit of a rejection and a bit of sellers coming at the top, but then I took my chances. I scaled in again, so I had about 10 lots at this time, and price created a continuation. And then I saw some rejections over here. So because price was going up there, and then like when price entered this key area, sorry, I just read it out to you. So when price entered this key area, I was like slowly scaling out, but then as I was scaling out, price just suddenly dropped. I don't know why, it just dropped about 100 points at that time. It was really crazy. So I knew that this key area played a major role because there's quite some rejections over here. So I was just like, I'll take some cash out first so I can secure my profits, because I learned my lesson from 2 days before, because I need to at least keep some in cash after I gain some profits. So I scaled out slowly, and then as I slowly scaled out, the price went really down, so that I got filled quite low. And yeah, so this was about 2 lots. So the remaining 2 lots got me losing about $195. That's just to show you how big of a slippage that was. And yeah, so I was just scaling out. I had 10 lots open. I was scaling out to like 5, and then gone up to 4, and the last 2 I scale out quite late, and then the price just went down. So this was an unforeseen circumstances, and yeah, I think from this trade I learned that I really need to put my stop loss and like to think about controlling my emotions and not letting emotions to control me. So I think it's a pretty good week, although it's a demo account, and I learned pretty much a lot of lessons. I learned a lot of lessons in this week. So yeah, and yeah, so for the main thing is that I need to control my emotions better, and I need to really consider where I put my stop loss and my take profit. So yeah, I think that's it for today. Thank you for listening. I hope you learned something as well, as I do learn a lot of things for this week. Thank you.